Hello and welcome to Some of My Friends Read Comics. We've got Vince.
Let's go down to the drowning cave. That sounds cool, right?
We've got Chris.
Want to see me juggle? I'm really good at it.
Oh my god, I'm Kia. Hi, welcome to the show. It's spooky season. Hey, spooky comics, scary stuff. We are reading Locke and Key. It's been when's the last time we read this? I feel like it was not
40 episodes ago, actually. This is episode 190, and that was episode 150 as we did Locke and Key Volume 2. And then I think a year or two before that we did Locke and Key Volume 1.
Wow, so it's been longer than I thought. It feels like it's been more recent that we did Volume 2.
We did it like in March. But, this is a good one. I think we're going to... I think there's only like 6 or 7 volumes. We'll finish this one out at some point.
Yeah, we're on to Volume 3 called Crown of Shadows. It's 6 issues from 2010. And then we're also continuing our long read of JLA, JSA, team-up sort of stuff, or just stuff that's generally focused on Earth 2. We are reading Adventure Comics 462 with the death of Batman from Earth 2. Oh my goodness. But we'll get to that. For now, let's focus on Locke and Key here. I didn't really remember much about this story, but then I really appreciate they have these like splash pages, not splash pages, but these recap pages at the beginning that just kind of tell you like, hey, there's these kids. Their dad was killed by a dude who was like possessed by a ghost kind of thing, and now they're sad, and there's all these keys. And the keys have special powers. That's kind of all you need to know.
Right. And I think the way, I'm not exactly sure how it was published. I could have probably looked back at this, but I remember it wasn't published like, this isn't issues, 13 through 18 or anything like that. They were published as distinct volumes every year. So I think there's probably only 6 issues a year. Weirdly, my thing says that this was called Locke and Key, Keys to the Kingdom, issues 1 through 6, despite it saying Crown of Shadows on every single page. The beginning of issues. So I don't know why it was called Keys to the Kingdom when it was originally published. But that was easy because it's like, okay, where do I start? All right, it's this one.
Yeah, you can just pick up any volume or whatever. I think it does still work better if you read it all in a row
once. But it's the kind of like the season model I've always wanted comics to be published as. Is just Yeah.
And it means that you have consistency in the writing and art and everything, and that they're just like, we only have this many issues a year. We can do this and do other projects. I think it's a smart way, and I dearly wish that the big two would do this, because they hate having art consistency because the artists get famous and want money, so they will just not do it anymore. It's very annoying.
Terrible. I said that's all you need to know going into this. I feel like you probably need to know more stuff, and I think there's a lot of stuff that I didn't remember that I'm like, I feel like it would have been good to remember. But
there's a few other things. So there's a lady in a well who scared Bodhi, the youngest, and then when they got out of the well, they were able to turn into a boy with some key that we don't really know how they did it, and then they befriended the daughter, the middle child.
The well lady Kinsey is now a boy, and
the well lady is now a boy.
Yes, and he manipulated a gym teacher to like fake his records because he is using a name that's, I guess, related to. I mean, she knows that he's this dead person who died in this accident like a decade and a half earlier or something like that.
The well lady went to high school with the kid's dad, Rendell, who died. And there's still a few teachers at the school like, you look exactly like this kid I taught 30 years ago. Which, I mean, like, I think I probably told this anecdote last time. Like, I went back to my high school to go visit some friends once, and the teacher was like, "Are you like a younger sibling of a student I had like 2 years ago?" And I'm like, "No, it's just me." So I think they recognize faces, but like, that's how I would just like, no, I'm their kid.
Yeah.
And then,
that's just easier.
Yep. So what else do we really need to know? Oh, the mom is a problem alcoholic, I guess, which we'll see. Other than that,
her husband got shot in the face, I think.
Yes, her husband was killed by what seemed like a random maniac, but we now know was manipulated by the well woman.
Right. And we also should, I don't think we said who the creative team is. It's Joe Hill, who is Stephen King's son, but he doesn't go by King because he wanted to be distinct from his dad, even though he writes stories about being in the Northeast with alcoholic parents. It's completely different. Not Stephen King, but it is very Stephen King-y.
Yeah, this is from the perspective of the kids, not the cool drunken adults.
Except for issue 6, that's got a lot of cool drunken adults in there. We'll get there.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't really know there's anything else you need to know. We'll talk about it as we go here, but I think let's just jump into it. Oh, did we mention the artist's name? You said
Gabriel
Joe Hill.
Rodriguez. We did.
Yeah,
not.
there we go. Great.
Who is good. I think a good artist, but we've talked about
so.
the problems we have with him, and they're still here.
The problems are here, and they're going to immediately come up on page 2, where I thought that it was Dodge coming into his room, not the mom.
There's a lot of faces look very, very similar here. Let's just do it. Issue 1. We start with it's the middle of the night. Tyler, who is the oldest of the 3 siblings, he's asleep, and Mom goes in. She's got a wine bottle and a glass, not just the bottle by itself because she's fancy. And she says, "Hey, I've got to go into another town because Brian got hit by a car." I don't know who Brian is.
Oh, so that subplot was they had a uncle who it turned out was gay, and then so the well woman has been trying to get these keys, finds out that this person is gay, manipulates events so that this bigot that they run into at a bar runs him over.
Yeah, that was part of this.
Bigots in a Stephen King story, completely.
Yes. Like townies and bullies are always willing to murder you in a Stephen King story.
Mom, we don't actually get Mom's first name in this, but she is drunk in pretty much every scene she's in. She tells Tyler, "Don't ever have kids unless you want to be scared all the time." Okay, good lesson.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom. Meanwhile, she's doing all this. Our villain, well lady, aka Dodge, aka I don't know. I guess just those two.
Luca, maybe
is listening in.
Luke Carvaggi or something like that.
Something like that.
It's written on a board in the drowning pool. We'll get to it later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's pretending to be. He's the one who's pretending to be their like teenage friend. He's got like a little bag, like a satchel around his neck with his 4 keys in there. And he's like, "Okay, I'm sneaking around their house at night." And he goes through this weird spirit door that we've seen before in the previous things, where like his spirit exits his body, and his body just like kind of slumps on the floor. And he goes
ghost key or whatever it's called.
Yeah. And he goes to talk to the spirit of Sam Lesser, who is the guy that he used to manipulate so that he could kill the kid's dad. So this Sam Lesser fellow is also dead now, and so it's just his spirit hanging around. And these 2 spirits are talking. And they talked for a long time. I was surprised how long this scene lasted to start off the book. But the spirit of Well Lady, now we'll call her, because it's out of Dodge's body, it has like this weird creature stuck to her back. It says it's another kind of key to unlock happiness. We never got any explanation about this thing. Sam is saying, "Hey, I want a body." And he's like kind of looking over at Dodge's body over there. Well, maybe I'll take that one. The Well Lady, meanwhile, is looking for the key to the black door. And Sam's like, "I know where it is, but I'm not going to tell you. You can go find it yourself." Well, Lady's like, "I'm not going to leave that body so you can take it. I can get you a healthy body instead. The youngest one, Bodhi, I can get you that young, healthy body." And they talk some more until Sam's like, "I wish I was dead. I hate this." And they start fighting. And during the fight, they both like hop back into Dodge's body because they both want it. And then they're both like in there fighting each other. And this poor body is just like, it's very brutal, I thought. It's like choking itself with the rope, banging its head against the wall. Mom hears this and wakes up and heads down. Sam, meanwhile, is like, "Okay, I can see, because we've been in the same body now, I can like see into the soul of this Well Lady / Dodge." And he's like, "Damn, I can tell this thing attached to you really sucks. I feel pity for you. I'm out of here. You can just have it. I'm done with this issue. I'm done with this arc. Maybe I'll come back in a future arc, but I'm done."
Bye. Got my payment.
Yeah, gone.
Contractually obligated
and
appearance.
yeah, we're good to go. Says, "Yeah, you'll take the black key over my dead body," and gets out of there. Dodge gets back in the body just in time, takes control of it, and is like, "Oh, I gotta grab these keys and get out of here." And he like grabs them and escapes just in time. But he left a key in there, and then Mom goes in to check out what was going on, and Mom finds the key. It's like a circular one with concentric like brick layers. We don't know what it does yet.
Looks kind of welly.
Looks kind of welly. Yeah, it looks like a well. have we seen the other 3 keys that he had? One is for like the ghost door. One has like a skull. I don't know which one is for the ghost door. There's like one with a skull on it.
The skull
like
one
an
is the one that
8 on
opens
it.
up your head and you can take out bad thoughts.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There's an 8. And then there's one that's like
2 faces.
Crown. Yeah. Okay. But that's it for issue 1. We don't really we spend a lot of time on this spirit fight in issue 1 here. But on to issue 2. We have Tyler, the oldest sibling, is talking to a girl in his class named Jordan. I'm surprised they named Jordan. There are so many characters that this book just doesn't name until way later that I was like, who am I writing about?
She was in the previous arc. What he did is he showed her that because they could open up their heads with the head key and they could take out bad thoughts. So they took out something of Bodhi, some memory from. And Kinsley, the middle daughter, they took out her sense of fear, which is going to come in just a second.
Yeah.
And then he found out that he could put things in his head to learn them, which is going to come up later. So he could like put like a book, like he could put like Huckleberry Finn in his head and then he'd have read it because it's just in his head. And so he took her and he was trying to impress this girl. So he showed her this trick and she freaked the fuck out. And so now he's talking about that, trying to make it up to her.
Got it. So there's like a paper due for class on this book, and she hasn't done it. And it's like an ethics class as well. And she's like, I could just steal it off the internet, but that's like bad for an ethics class. Also, I'm sure I'll get caught. And he's like, hey, you know what? Let me just give you my paper. You can put your name on it. I've got this excuse all semester of having lost my dad. Nobody's going to expect me to do anything.
It's like that movie. What was that movie? Like, if your roommate kills himself, then you get straight A's for the rest of the season. Semester. It's fucked up. It was a comedy. It's hilarious. The early 2000s were a fucked up time. It wasn't Stealing Harvard, but it was like, what the fuck was it? It had like Jason Lee or something in it. I'm gonna have to look this up. That was fucked up.
Yeah, look it up. I don't know what that movie was. But he gets a kiss out of it from this girl he likes. Okay, nice. Dodge, meanwhile, it's a well lady in Dodge's body, is hanging out with Kinsley, one of those two. We have not heard her name in the last issue at all. We have not heard her name in this issue. It takes a long time for them to say her name, which, I mentioned that, like, okay, we don't need much of a recap. I want to know who the characters' names are, though. Come on.
Where's Stan Lee to remind us what's going on?
But he's like talking to her, gives her like a little head kiss as he leaves. He's trying to get with her. And then this new character named Scott Kavanaugh shows up. All right. He's a white shirt, black tie, tattoos, mohawk, sunglasses kind of guy. Okay. He's like, hey, I know a lot about you. And he starts putting down Dodge. And he's like, that other guy you're hanging out with, that guy sucks. And I'm cooler than him. Which tells me that this guy probably sucks. But then he's like, hey.
The guy looks like he's from Transmet?
Yes, he does. I thought it was the guy from Transmetropolitan at first as like a weird aside. He looks so much like him.
Baby
Spider
Jerusalem.
Yeah, Baby Jerusalem. He looks exactly like Spider Jerusalem. But he says, hey, I know your dad's name is written on a wall in the Drowning Cave. She's like, what's the Drowning Cave? And he's like, oh, it's a makeout spot, but like you can't go too deep because the tide will come in. You'll drown in the cave. Whoa. And because her fears have been removed, she wants to go down there. I wish they had told me that her fears have been removed. That would have made a whole lot more sense in terms of like why she wanted to do really scary stuff.
They do. I mean, her brother mentions it in the next issue, right?
Right. Like a little bit later.
You had your fears removed.
But in exchange for that, for taking her down there, this Baby Jerusalem guy wants the truthful answer to 3 questions. Okay, fine. I thought this guy was going to be some sort of like a mystic, whatever. He's just a regular weirdo.
This is a really weird. I mean, this book keeps introducing these like fun teen like side characters. I'm like, I don't find this guy fun.
Well, after she leaves, a second dude drops down from the trees above them, and they're talking about like how it went. And I'm like, are these spies? But no, they're just regular teenagers trying to get with this girl.
It seems like a weird, I don't know if it's trying to be commentary, because it's like there's already Dodge, who is trying to be this like, punky alternative dude, but is actually a 50-year-old man, or not even that, because as Lesser points out, like basically the key is manipulating them into what they are. So it's this sort of re-embodied spirit trying to pursue whatever ends, trying to be like a teen who's talking like an old person. And then you have two more people who talk like adults. And you're just like, what's going on?
I have no idea. I don't get the second dude's name at all. And
This is the first time I was like, yeah, Netflix saw this and we're like, yeah, we're making this show right now. There's two stupid, annoying friends.
So Kinsey and these two guys and an unnamed friend of Kinsey's, who later we learn is named Jackie, I think. They all go down together. I don't know how she convinced Jackie or who Jackie is or why she's down there with them. But I wrote, I need some names here because the only person's name in this scene of 4 that I knew at the time was Scott Kavanaugh, the baby Jerusalem guy, and I did not know anybody else's name. But they're breaking into it's like a World War II naval point down there, and they break in. There's a big locked door numbered 1. I'm sure that's going to come back later. The water is also a lot higher than the last time these kids were there because of the tide. But Kinsey wants to see her dad's name, so she's like, I'm going in the water. She's got no fear. And I think here is when they finally call her Kinsey. But she goes down underwater for a bit to try and read the name on the wall. She kind of sees it, but she can't make out what's written there. The dude up top, who I think we learn a little bit later, is named Jamal. Jamal gets a rat on him, and he kind of scares, and he jumps on these metal stairs, and the bolts come out of the stairs, and they're all stuck in the water. Oh, no.
They fucked up.
Very, very fucked up. It felt right now, though, it's like, okay, there's some stakes here. Very little to do with anything that was going on in the last issue. It feels like a brand new story. That's okay.
I also have to question Kavanaugh's decision. He takes his pants off and he's wearing tighty whities. Like, you're going into cold water. Just leave your pants on. What are you doing?
You're trying to impress this girl. Like, what are you doing? Man?
Yeah, it's the opposite of it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they're all stuck in the water. Jackie and Scott kind of climb up out of the cold. It's like so cold that they're like chattering their teeth when they're talking, that kind of thing. And they just can't handle the cold. They kind of get up out of there. Kinsey and Jamal, though, now have a connection of some sort. I don't know how this happened, but they swim around and they're like, we're going to look for another way up. And they swim around for a little while. Then they come back and they're like, yeah, we didn't find anything. Let's kiss now. And they kiss. And, okay. And then we never see this character again. Well, okay. After this issue, they pull down.
They want to go.
Right.
They want to go to a concert.
You're right. We do see them a few.
They're going to see a Muse show or something, right?
A Muse. They specifically call out Muse. Yeah. But they do this thing where they're the other two are climbed up on these. I don't know, what do you call it? A catwalk kind of deal with a bolted to the wall. They purposefully pull it down so they can climb up it. Jackie, the friend, who is, I don't know how important she is, but she's like, I can't handle how dangerous all this was. This is terrible. She's dropping F-bombs to Kinsey. Whatever. It's fine.
Right. And again, they don't tell you Kinsey has no fear. So, right. Just like the shirts.
Oh, man.
So she's freaking out and she's like, why aren't you freaked out at all about this? And she's like, look, I just thought it was more practical to try to save you guys.
I don't know. The reader does get to see the writing that was down on the wall. It's still kind of messed up, so you don't see it all, but it's something about Dodge, Friends Forever, 1988, and there's a dead body down there. And that's it for that plot thread. We don't really come back to that.
And it seems like it's Dodge.
Oh, yeah, because maybe it's got long hair. Enough to,
right. And Dodge died in this well, or at least died previously and ended up in this well.
Okay.
Spooky.
Yeah. Issue 3. My issues, they had alternate covers listed on here as well. The alternate cover for this issue says it to come in big letters, and I couldn't tell if that was the actual cover, if it was a TBD.
Well, in our trade, in the trade at least, they don't have they don't have issue divisions. They just go into each other. So it goes from dead body to the first page of the next issue to then the title card page on page 2. So it's very confusing to know this was the end of the previous issue.
I see. There's a lot of confusing stuff happening throughout.
I don't understand why publishers don't just put the covers in. Like, it would help a lot.
Well, I know when we worked at my old comic book company, it was because we literally just like ripped our unsold issues and then glued them all together to make our trades. We took the covers off.
Yeah, but I don't think everyone does that.
I think that I don't think IDW does that kind of. I think IDW is a little classier than that, so it's a weird choice.
Maybe. Wow. All right. So this issue number 3 starts with Tyler chasing Bodhi, the oldest sibling chasing the youngest one, saying, "I'm going to kill you, you little turd." We don't find out what Bodhi did ever.
He stole his hat.
He did?
Yeah, he stole his hat, and he said he stole his hat because he wants the head key back.
Oh, okay. How did I miss that? Bodhi goes to hide under a rug, like a hallway runner kind of a rug.
Bodhi's not smart. That's not going to hide him.
No. Yeah, he's a child. He's stupid.
He's very stupid. He's 6 years old. They rip Tyler, pulls away the rug, and they find out that there's a big, key shape that's in the wood underneath this rug, which... Have they never moved this rug before? Did the house come with the rug there and nobody moved it? That what happened? And then
it's a big rug.
Yeah, because if you had that cool of a design on your floor, you wouldn't be like, let's cover this up with a rug, unless it creeped you the fuck out. Which maybe that's the case. Like mom's like, I don't like this. I don't like the vibe of this. I'm gonna cover it with a rug right now.
Maybe. And then they realize there's a window in the same room that's in the exact same shape as this giant key, and
with a picture of a little guy with a big guy over him.
Yeah. And I guess this comes back later because I'm like, I don't know. My guess is that it would either turn you small or turn you big. And I think Tyler makes a joke of I guess you could pull this thing up out of the ground, but was there even a key to put it in anywhere? And oh yeah, it's up on the wall.
Yeah, and then he sees it. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll come back to that later.
That would be my English teacher would say this is foreshadowing.
Yeah, it's foreshadowing. I feel like it could have done a better job for foreshadowing. I've got a lot of complaints about this book.
No, that's fine as far as foreshadowing goes. You're right. Your complaint is rejected.
Chekhov's giant key.
Yeah, maybe the other way around, where at the end it could have been a little. Did we see him use the key? All right, whatever. We'll get to it.
We did see him use the key. It's a big deal.
We did.
Literally, yes.
We did.
It's issue 5.
There must have been pages missing in my comic. All right. Meanwhile,
you'll get to it. You'll get to it. I promise you.
All right. Mom has hired some dude whose name we again don't get here.
Who also looks like Dodge and her.
Hasn't hired. He's the cop who showed up whenever the guy who killed her father, or her husband, the children's father, came back and was terrorizing them in the last arc. And then this cop showed up on the scene after he was already killed.
This guy's a cop?
Yes. He's got his badge out.
Yeah. He does?
Yes.
Yeah, he does.
It was so easy for me to miss things. I swear I was paying attention when I read this.
And then she gives him a key in a plastic bag as evidence of what? I don't know.
I don't know.
I guess because they know that Lesser was in their house. They think maybe he left it or something.
Okay.
It's a big spooky house. There's a lot of stuff they don't know there, like the giant aforementioned key on the floor.
Yeah.
They have barely scraped the surface of this house. They just moved in and went to sleep and didn't.
They moved in. There were murders, and then they went to sleep.
Yeah. So there's a weird scene where they're talking about the strange goings on, how she's got to go visit Brian. I don't know why she had to wake her son up in the middle of the night to tell her that she was going to another city.
Him. She's got mom guilt, and she's gonna miss her boy.
Okay, and she was drunk.
And she's a drunk mess.
Yeah.
So she's like, I thought I heard you making noise in there. Sorry.
I could not drink this much and then go driving. This seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, it's very irresponsible what she does.
Yeah.
Do not, children reading this book at home, don't do any of the things the characters do.
Yes, don't look up to the mom.
We do get a little bit of the children hating her, especially Kinsey. Kinsey really hates her mom. Mom's about to leave. She's telling Tyler not to make a mess of the place. Apparently, this is the most important thing to her now, to not make a mess of the place. There's a mother-daughter scene where Kinsey is just accusing her of being a drunk, saying, "Glad you're not taking Bodhi with you. At the very least, if you're drunk driving, you'll only hurt yourself. And I don't even care if you hurt yourself," all that kind of stuff.
Teenage girls are fucking savage. They read you real raw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's also, like, in addition to her alcoholism, she is, and her going into her son's room in the middle of the night, she is getting to an unhealthy place where she's relying on her son to, like, be support because she's just so messed up. Not healthy.
Not healthy. Meanwhile, Kinsey catches up with her two new friends, Scott and Jamal. They are trying to get her to go to Boston so that they can get into the Muse show. But they have no ride and no money, and they're under 21. And, that's probably not going to happen. But instead, they got her a present. It's a new outfit that's kind of revealing. These kids are weird. I don't know how old they are. Whatever. She goes home, and it's a life jacket to, like, joke about their adventure where they almost drowned, I guess. Okay.
Right.
And they're like, "Yeah, I dare you to wear it to school one day, haha." Dodge, meanwhile, is snooping around in the basement. He finds... I thought this was the black key, but maybe not. Maybe it's just a key in a jar of jelly that was labeled black currant, but not like the fruit black currant, like a black currant, like water.
Oh, it's not... He didn't even spell it. Like, he didn't even spell A-N-T. He spelled E-N-T. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You get it. And he gets into some door. He puts the key into a crown that he finds, and he wears it. And now he has shadow powers or something.
This is the aforementioned Crown of Shadows from the title.
Yeah. And then all the kids get attacked by weird shadow creatures in the middle of the night. Oh my god.
Netflix is like, hell yes.
So jumping straight into issue 4, Tyler is hanging by like some...
Including the cover of this issue and the end of that, the other one, is Peter Pan's shadow, which he's reading Peter Pan with Bodhi is with his brother, and then the Peter Pan shadow shows up. So it's like, oh, we get to reference Peter Pan.
Yeah, did that have anything to do with anything, though?
The shadows.
It's a reference to a famous work of fiction with a shadow character.
Hook.
Okay.
Yeah, the shadow.
That's fine, I guess. All right. We have Tyler hanging. It's like a very Venom sort of a shadow creature. There's a bunch of creatures. It's like this house is now just filled with shadow monsters. It's like a house party in there. It is crazy. They're all over the place. Tyler's hanging upside down. He like spits in the well lady's face because she's there as the shadow queen or whatever. Kinsey has I guess it's a flashlight. It reminds me more of like a Men in Black memory eraser kind of pen, because it has, I don't know what kind of flashlight this is that only operates in short, quick bursts of massive light.
She pulls it off the life preserver, so somebody finds you. It's like flashing.
Oh, that's where it came from. Okay. But she leaves a key on the nightstand. Oh no. The spirit shows Tyler like an image. For whatever reason, the spirit can't talk. But it shows Tyler...
because Dodge knows that. I mean, even though it's taking this form, it's still him, or whatever he is. So it's worried that Tyler would recognize him. Later, it just talks to Bodhi, but
all right,
it doesn't want Tyler to hear it.
The spirit shows Tyler like an image of two keys with a question mark, and Tyler is hanging upside down. He says it's hard to see upside down what that is. And so like one of the shadow creatures like bites his ear to lift up his head, and he's like, "Oh, I see, it's keys." Like, really? You couldn't identify keys upside down, bro? Come on. Tyler has a whole conversation with this lady about where the key could be that would help her get into the well house, or maybe lock her into the well house forever. Tyler makes a whole ton of logical leaps here and has basically the whole side of this conversation by himself about this. Says he will not help. Meanwhile, the cop shows up because...
he pulls a Pulp Fiction, and he's just like, "Oh, my mom doesn't have the key. It's in my ass."
Oh,
And
yeah.
the Shadow Lady's like, yeah, great.
The cop shows up because mom had asked him to like check on the kids, and he gets attacked by the shadow creatures too. But they use the head key on him, and they take out this memory of him needing to check on the kids. And so he's like, "Why was I here? I don't know. I guess I'm leaving." And then Tyler appears to have used some key that makes him giant. I did not see him using this key. I need to like flip back through this issue because I swear I did not see this panel happen. Where is this? Where he we don't see it happen. I'm looking at it right now. We just see him get big.
No, it's there's a 2-page spread where he like opens up the curtain and then he sees like the big monster. He puts the key through the window and then the house splits apart. You don't have this?
I have the panel with the house splitting apart. I genuinely am missing the pages. Okay. So I said it as a joke that maybe I was missing pages. I think I really am missing pages.
Oh, well, you can't. That's just a betrayal of Chekhov's big key then for you. Yes, absolutely. He sticks the big key.
That seems like your fault more than the book's fault.
No, I'm going to blame the book. I'm going to say that you guys have extra pages.
Yes. Well, this is director's cut. Yeah.
You have a director.
Kia has the producer's cut where they wanted to cut it down to a trim 92 minutes.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't actually see the key, what did you think happened? He got.
I assumed it, but I was just like, man, it would have been nice to see him using it. Why didn't they put that in there?
I think Chris is a more savvy reader than us because I honestly was like, oh yeah, there's a key on the floor, and like you're just saying like there's a big guy and a small guy on it. And I'm like, oh, I do notice that now. I did not notice that before. I'm like, yeah, it's a big key. I'm sure they'll come up later. And then it didn't. I was like, I just clapped my hands like, ooh, this is so novel. He's big now. I didn't even think about this.
I knew what was happening. I just thought they could have explained it better for people who weren't as smart as me. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's what it is. You were worried about all the other people.
Exactly. I'm worried about the casual readers.
That reminds me of I think it was Venture. Well, I know it's Venture Brothers, where they're trying to find like a shrink ray that Dr. Venture's dad had created. And they're like, what does it look like? It's like, oh, it's got like a diagram of a little guy and then a big guy, or maybe it's a big guy and then a little guy. It's kind of hard to show like what's leading to what.
But anyways, Tyler is big now, and issue 5, I was like already not on board with this. Like we're starting to get into final thoughts. I know I liked volume 1 and volume 2 well enough. I did not like this volume, and this issue was the one that solidified it for me, where I was like, what the hell now, book? Come on. The first 12 pages of this issue are just splash pages of the big guy fighting the big shadow monster. And like, I don't know, if there was some storytelling or something happening in there, it would have been cool, but there's not. It's just like very generic fight panels.
He pushes him into an ocean next to a lighthouse.
Okay, like that's a couple panels that are interesting.
Yeah, and now Netflix is like, wait, we don't like this. This looks very expensive.
The kids were drowning in a cave. That was nice and cheap. I like that.
Yeah, that we can do in a set. This we're gonna have to spend a lot on CGI. It's gonna be a pain, or it'll look really crappy.
No, you just build a tiny lighthouse and you put them in some water. You're good to go.
We're doing we're doing Godzilla style. Okay.
No.
Yeah, or Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
Yes.
Just have they're standing. Have Kinsey and Bodhi stand like 100 feet back on a set, and they're like, "Wow, you're a giant."
I think the important thing that happens here is that the crown gets knocked off of the head of Dodge.
Yes.
And he turns back into a regular. Am I missing more panels here where that like actually happens?
No. There's like the lighthouse goes off and the crown flies off of Dodge on one of the single pages, and then Dodge like swims away without Tyler ever seeing it was him or her, and then Tyler gets the crown, and then Dodge somehow the little baggie with the swirly key has washed up on the beach next to Dodge, very conveniently.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see a panel where like the crown goes flying off of Dodge's head.
It's in the big
like
page. It's in the big spread where do you see like a lighthouse like bursting the shadow off of Dodge?
No.
Okay.
I think I'm missing more pages. I
Oh
genuinely,
my god.
I'm missing
wild.
a lot of pages.
This is the first
this
time.
Is crazy.
Well, we got you covered. So
I picked
Wow.
up. Listen. Don't worry. I picked up on it again. I just thought they should have explained it better to people.
You're getting an incomplete for this
Yeah,
week's episode.
Oh my
well, that's
goodness.
okay.
No!
That's going to come into play next issue.
Yep.
You're going to get
Oh, you're right. All right. So Tyler's got the crown. Mom gets home and is like, "Holy shit, this place is a wreck." And Bodhi's like, "I don't know. I woke up and it was like this." And his shadow appears to still be like a Peter Pan shadow. Okay, cool. And then Tyler's like, "Oh, sorry, Mom. We had a party and we kind of wrecked the place." Which, why don't you just tell your mom what happened?
I think they have some bullshit reason that Mom will make them move from the murder house.
Whatever. And they opened up Bodhi's brain and took out these memories of these new shadow creatures again because
reasons.
I don't know.
Just so he wouldn't be traumatized by almost being killed by shadow monsters.
Sure. They left the fear in there though because they mentioned that he needs to have the fear and he needs to be scared of stuff so that he's not going to break any bones at his young age. Kinsey is wearing her new life preserver to school, and she likes her new friends. And Dodge is there saying, "Hey, your new friends are uncool, and you're uncool for wearing that." And she says, "I don't care. I like my new friends." Oh,
I'm just looking at this now. Dodge looks exactly like the cop. Like he has the short-cut black hair with the buzz back and the soul patch.
Yeah, but when he's a woman, he looks exactly like the mom. So
yeah. Yep.
So figure that out.
And then Tyler's little lady friend who he gave the paper to, she is pissed because she got an F on the paper. And it's like, hey, you just recounted everything that happened without actually talking about understanding it. It was just a list of facts about the book, which makes sense because he just memorized the book because he got it literally put in his
It doesn't
brain.
make sense you would get an F for that. That's like a C.
Right. I feel like you would get something for that,
Yeah, it's like this is high school. That's kind of what they expect you to do unless you're in like an AP class.
Yeah.
And Tyler's not in an AP class.
No.
Definitely not.
Yeah. He should be in the class where it's like you spelled everything right, you automatically get like a 70.
Yeah, you wrote a paper, that's good enough.
Yeah.
Come on. But on to issue 6, which feels like a little bit of a whole separate story here. It's a little bit more focused on Mom. She has found an old video of Dad juggling. And Bodhi comes in because he's cut his chin. And he's like, "Oh, I'm a little bit enamored by this video of Dad. Hey, cool." He apparently cut his chin trying to get another key off of the bathroom medicine cabinet that he saw up there. So he put a stool on the toilet, climbed up on it, and tried to get the key. Fell down, busted his chin, and broke the stool. Nice job, Bodhi. That's kind of a lot for a 6-year-old to do, though, to be honest.
And then walk in calmly and ask for some bandages. But then again, kids are fucking crazy.
Yeah, it does tell you like how gone she is, that she didn't hear that huge noise of like him falling, hitting his face on the toilet, and then the whatchamacallit breaking. She's like sitting there drinking her red wine, which is like filled, past like to the brim.
Yeah. So they get this key down from the bathroom, and it's got like what do you call that symbol of like the health and hospital symbol?
Caduceus.
Is that what it is?
Say it?
Yeah. And they're like, "Oh, what is this?" And it opens a cabinet in the bathroom with that exact same symbol on it. Which again, has nobody like seen this thing and been like, "I wonder what this is. I wonder why we can't open it." Whatever. Later all right, I know I've had some complaints about this book. This is my number one complaint about the book. They're in the kitchen. Bodhi is trying to juggle grapefruits. He's juggling them. He's trying. A grapefruit falls on the floor, and it like explodes, which is not how grapefruits act. It would just like kind of plop there, and it would be okay. It wouldn't explode into a million pieces. That's my big complaint about this book.
It's a recurring problem.
Is it a grapefruit or is that an orange?
No, they mentioned it's a grapefruit. They did.
It looks more like an orange.
Well,
that's what I thought at first.
There's a lot of issues with Gabriel Rodriguez's art here. One,
everything looks the same.
One, grapefruit looks like an orange, and two, grapefruits and oranges don't explode that way.
They don't explode.
Chris, as our resident juggler, is this accurate?
No, it's not accurate.
You can juggle?
Yes, he's a very good juggler. He comes over to my house sometimes and impresses the children. We had when we did a play, we did Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, and we had to have like not dumb things because Chris is actually talented, but like things that like we had to do like in the background to like look interesting as the players as part of whatever. And Chris juggled, and I think do you do 3 or 4 balls?
Just 3.
Yeah, it's very good.
I used to be able to do 4. I can't anymore. It's too hard.
Yeah, I think 4 balls. You're just showing off. 3 is all you need.
Yeah.
Speaking of trying to show off, Mom is like, "Hey, I used to be able to juggle plates too," and she grabs 3 plates and tries to juggle them, and she just breaks 2 of them, and then she keeps on trying, and she keeps on breaking plates.
It's like 9 a.m. Like this is really sad.
It's very. And then she goes to we didn't mention it. She had like a broken cane as well. Her old cane because she's like kind of injured from the accidents and stuff. Or maybe like Brody broke it when he was trying to get the key down. That's what it was. She just put this broken cane in that random cabinet in the bathroom that they now have the key to. And so she was like, okay, I'm going to go get my broken cane out of there for some reason. And it's fixed.
She locked it in there. This doesn't make any sense.
I don't know why she did that.
Like, I break shit all the time, and my wife gets mad at me, like, just throw it away. You're never gonna, like...
No, lock it in a chest, Vince. You never know.
And then lock it also. Like, yeah. It's not even like a knife. Like, this is a broken knife or something, and we got to keep it away from the kids, so I'm going to lock this. Like, that would make sense to me. But...
No, sure. Yeah. But also, it's got like a fancy logo and everything.
Yeah, it's got like a kind of like a medical logo with snakes. Also, she's drunk as a skunk.
Yes. Yeah. So she goes back to the cabinet. I don't know why she's decided this is the time to go back to the cane, but she opens it and it's fixed. What? And she then tries to put the broken stool in, and she opens it and it's fixed. And then she puts all the broken pieces of plates in, and then opens it and they're fixed. And then she breaks them again because she knows she can just fix them again, which is my favorite part of the issue, I think. Then she was also saying, like, what the size of this cabinet is literally growing and changing because it knows what you're going to put in it. Did I read that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, that's the art. The art is not...
All right, sure.
Because it does get taller whenever the stool goes in there. But yeah, it's not clear.
All right. So she then is like, hey, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab Dad's ashes out of the urn and put that in there. And she does. And she opens it. And it doesn't work. Nothing has changed. And she's like, maybe it needs more time. So she just locks it in there and leaves it in there. And she's like, you know what? While it's doing its magic and bringing my husband back to life, I'm going to go take a shower. I'm going to dress all sexy so that I'm going to be ready for my husband who's been brought back to life by this magic cabinet. And she then goes back into like the bathroom and she sees a guy in there. And she's like, oh, there he is. And she hugs him. And it's like, oh, I've missed you so much. But it's her oldest son, Tyler. And he's like, get off me, you drunk mom. What's that, Vince? You got real quiet.
I said no, thank you.
Yeah, no thanks. And Mom is pissed. She breaks the urn of ashes. Kinsey's in there. Everyone's yelling at her for being drunk. She slaps Kinsey. Everyone's yelling at her. Everyone hates drunk Mom. And Tyler can't wait to graduate so he can get out of there. She's a mess. Later, the kids are cleaning up, and the broken urn had a key inside. Cliffhanger.
Omega key.
The end of this trade.
Okay, and this says to be continued in Locke and Key, Keys to the Kingdom. I think that the internal writing thing on the beginning of my book may just have been wrong.
Yeah, that's more likely.
Yeah. So, yeah, this felt very, very different from the first 2 volumes, I thought. I really... Like, I mean, it's got some interesting ideas in it, but I didn't like it. It's not like the worst comic we've ever read or anything like that. And granted, I was missing some panels apparently, but I don't know. Something was off about this one.
I didn't like it as much. I know that when we first read Lock and Key 1, I immediately checked out volumes 2 and 3 from the library and read them like immediately. And I don't think I was I was motivated to read more, but I just kind of like lost steam. I was like, I don't really care. Because I really liked, I think, volumes 1 and 2. Volume 1 is, pretty standard. Volume 2 is where like they turn on the keys and they get really like interesting. The imagery gets really cool with the head key. I remember in like Dodge and like Dodge was like manipulating like older women that he went to school with. Like there was a lot of cool stuff going on. This one didn't seem to be as world building. It just seemed to be kind of like a smaller story. So
it was like very scattered and disconnected from.
I didn't like the characters. I didn't like her friends. I didn't like Baby Jerusalem.
Baby Jerusalem out of nowhere.
But the drowning cave, but the drowning cave imagery was really well done. I like that. Pretty well drawn. Yeah. And that's in Netflix. That's definitely in the Netflix series.
Yeah, it definitely does feel like an arc that could stand to be cleaned up a little by Netflix's padding, because this series is moving pretty fast, which is good. But it's also just like you kind of need to reset a little bit and be like, what's going on? Who are these people?
Right.
Like let Bodhi have like a side story that isn't like he found another key and another key.
Right.
Like I haven't watched the Netflix show, but I assume that they are a little bit better about having, not every scene pushing the plot forward, because Netflix generally is good at, having long ass episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's also like nobody has any sort of a goal that I can see. Nobody feels like a protagonist. It just feels like they're hanging out and some stuff is kind of happening to them, and I don't know, there's a lot that just feels like it's missing some basic storytelling elements throughout it. It rubbed me the wrong way.
Will we still go back to Lock and Key 4?
Wait, sure. We'll do it. I will gladly read Lock and Key 4 if it's as breezy as this was. We read this. It just flowed super quick. There was a ton of just I don't know if I want to say wasted space, but it felt like there's just a lot of like panels that didn't move things forward, and you can just kind of
except
flip
for the
right
ones
through
that
it
you
and
missed.
you're done. Listen. I was trying to pay attention. I don't know what happened here.
It is a mid 2000s comic though. Whenever this was.
Yeah, it's like 2010 or whatever it was. But yeah, if I was reading this in singles, I probably would start thinking about dropping it this arc, because it's like, this isn't. Again, I'm not saying that it has to go into like a status quo mode, but there's just not enough of like. We have the well lady and Dodge, who are the same person, but like Dodge as their like boy form, it only has one scene with Kinsey like this whole time. And so it's kind of confusing if you don't know that like these are the same person. Like, what the hell is going on? There's not really a whole lot of explanation. And again, just the same face that everyone has, makes that more of a problem, because then it flashes back to when he was, in the well, and he looks like the mom. So that's. Yeah. It's just kind of hard to remember your bearings unless you're just speed reading all of this. I do like this. I'm higher on it than Kia, but I also feel like Netflix could make a better version of this particular arc. I liked the endings of that second issue. I thought that was really good, and the ending of that first issue was, they were good little twists. What's going to happen? So I do like that. I just think that it's a little bit. The format, writing a 20-some page comic, you can't cram as much story in as a 22-minute episode of a TV show. Mm-hmm. And so you're just kind of like, who are these people? If they're not reminding you every few minutes.
Yeah. But I'm sure we will come back to Volume 4. Who knows? Maybe next year for spooky season. We'll see. But anything else we want to say about this?
No.
Or are we on to some JSA stuff? We're on to Adventure Comics 462. Now this it's one of these sort of I don't know, what do you call these, an anthology issue with a lot of little stories in it. We're just reading the Death of Batman story. It's by
by Paul Levitz and Joe Staton. But I was gonna say, like, yeah, it seems like there were a lot of these because we just read like DC Superstars. It seems like these were bigger, like 60, 70 page comics that were like $1 as opposed to 10 cents or something.
So part of what happened was, without getting into a very long spiel about it, but they had what was called the DC explosion. That was kind of the marketing term for it in the 70s, where they started publishing a lot of books. And then the reaction to that was the market couldn't really support that many books, and they had what was called the DC implosion. So they had a lot of books get canceled, including they almost had Detective Comics get canceled because it was the third best-selling Batman title, and they're like, oh, let's get rid of it. And they're like, wait, this book has been running since like 1940. We have to keep publishing this. So they canceled Batman Family. They canceled, basically half the comics they were putting out. And so they had all this already done material that it's like, well, we're going to put it out. We're like, we're not going to just not do it.
Well, that makes sense here. Probably a good way to just put some stories out there. So in this...
and then the editor message seems kind of dickish. Like, we're taking over these other books, so they're going to be a lot better now. Like, Wonder Woman solo magazine's been sucking, but I'm taking over, so it's going to be good now. It seems like kind of like really shitting on current comics.
Yeah, maybe don't do that. Maybe don't be like, now we're going to be good.
Oh, what does it say? We've also taken over the editorial chores on the Flash and Wonder Woman solo magazines, so hopefully you'll be seeing better character continuity and tighter weaving of plots.
Okay, cool.
Characters are wildly inconsistent. We know it. We know Daredevil sucks. We know Flash sucks. Wonder Woman, whatever. We're gonna fix it.
So this story, 462, starts with the JSA standing at the grave of Bruce Wayne. Oh no!
Again, a really dickish title. It says "Only legends live forever." Batman, you're not a legend because you're
not a legend. Sorry, Batman.
You're dead.
And then we jump into the prologue, which the first caption says it began a short hour ago, which did like an hour before the JSA is standing at Batman's grave. Is that what it is? I was a little bit confused here. I'm sure that's not what it means, but that's what I saw. Some guy who looks like a regular human who we've never met before.
I bet that other page was a cover. The Only Legends Live Forever. It does have a caption now about like Earth 2, but I bet that was just
probably a cover of an old issue that they like,
or intended issue. Yeah,
like
that makes the most sense to me.
Makes more sense. So this guy is climbing the trade tower, just like with his bare hands, and he's demanding to talk to Commissioner Wayne. Remember, this is Earth 2, where Batman is an old guy who is retired, and he's I guess a police commissioner now.
Yeah, with a dead wife.
Yeah, because Catwoman died like 8 months ago, which we read a couple episodes ago.
Yeah,
and his daughter is Huntress.
Yes.
And this guy who's climbed the tower has like some bolt sort of powers, like some lightning powers. He's like tossing away the cops, sending his bolts at them.
His name is Jensen. Sorry,
Bill Jensen. He says, Bruce Wayne framed me, so I'm gonna kill him. I demand to speak to Commissioner Wayne. And like one day he just woke up in prison with his powers, and Bruce Wayne is there, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna kill you, and he fires an angry bolt to get through Dr. Fate's shield to kill Bruce Wayne, but Wayne has disappeared, and he goes, where is Bruce Wayne? Where did he go? And Bill Jensen just stays there on top of his building until Bruce Wayne comes to him. And then did we go from... So that whole scene was labeled a prologue, and then the next scene is labeled Chapter 3. Did I miss something? Am I missing more pages?
These editors are serious. Those last guys were a bunch of clowns.
Joe Orlando, guest editor, doing a great job here.
Yeah.
Or Ben Oda, letterer, also doing a great job.
So, by the way, these are the only 2 chapters, I think. I did not see any other chapter marks. Prologue and Chapter 3, and that's it. So Bruce Wayne has jumped down to a ledge slightly below the roof where they're on, And he's thinking about how, like, I remember putting this guy away. It was an open and shut case. Maybe a little bit strange because he was just like a businessman who murdered his partner out of nowhere. But he goes to the Batcave to put on his costume once again and become Batman. And this Bill Jensen guy tries to throw the Flash off the building, but the Batman swings in to save him. And this dude is like blasting other buildings with his bolts now. It's terrible. So Batman gets in close to him and he's like, I don't want Batman. I only want Bruce Wayne, but I'll use you to get to him. And he's like burning hot with anger and he's firing bolts everywhere. And these bolts are like starting to rip the mask off of Batman. He's like, you're Bruce Wayne. Oh my God. And he's got you right in front of me. And he just like fires bolts so much that they both explode and they're dead. And at the funeral, Dick Grayson is there. He says, I'll go on to be Batman. And Huntress says, no, you won't. There should only be one Batman. On his legacy.
I like Robin's like, oh, you want to be Batman?
Oh, yeah. Like, I shouldn't be Batman. So you?
I mean, I guess you are his actual blood relative, so you probably should get to first dibs at being Batman.
It makes sense. But that is the end of this issue. I think Dr. Fate is like, all right, we're going to have to figure out who this guy is who killed Batman, which, I feel like that's not, I don't know. The story happened.
I'm like, so who killed Batman? Bill Jensen? Has he ever appeared before? No. What's his deal? Like, it's not the Joker or like even Mr. Freeze or anything. No, it's Bill Jensen.
It's Bill Jensen,
which I don't like, except that it seems like the story is going to be like, who was this mysterious guy? Like, he's like, is this putting one over in wrestling parlance? That like he defeated Batman, he must be a big deal. Like, is that?
It's like it's putting him over, not putting one over.
That's different. Putting him over, like to like immediately elevate Bill Jensen to like something interesting.
Sure. I mean, maybe if you're gonna use it, maybe if today, 30 years later, or however many years later, what was this, 19?
Yeah, this is years
79.
Yeah,
he's
40
got
years
later.
According to the DC Wikia, he has 5 appearances and then is erased from continuity after the Crisis. Although he appears in Infinite Crisis, so we may have seen him if I ever read that.
Yeah.
This don't even bring wrestling continuity into this. They wouldn't do something so stupid.
He defeated Hulk Hogan, therefore he's great. We learned about that.
And then
when Andre let Hogan beat him. Yeah.
Which is like, that's fine if you're gonna use the guy, but like, who is this?
Isn't that kind of the point, that it's not someone? It's just like, what the hell happened? Like, how did Batman die?
I can see that. And especially if it's like Earth 2 Batman, who doesn't matter. Sure. But like, I don't know. You could have told a cooler story instead.
Yes. And they should have led the first scene, chapter prologue or whatever, should have been the funeral. Like, just open with that. That's the part that's cool. Just expand that out. Just like everybody is burying Bruce Wayne, Batman.
Yeah.
Now we all know, I guess, that Bruce Wayne was Batman.
And it really does seem like Earth 2 Batman is dead permanently. I don't know. Maybe he comes back.
This is it. He's done.
This is it. All right.
That's a wrap on Earth 2 Batman.
Well, thanks, Batman. Had a nice life. Got to be commissioner. That's it.
Framed that guy, apparently.
Framed. Yeah. Even Batman was like, I guess maybe I could.
All cops are bad.
A little bit. No shit. So Batman's dead. Next time in our continued read of JSA stuff, we are going to be reading Brave and the Bold number 182. This is from 1982, where the Batman of Earth 1 teams with the Robin of Earth 2. Huh. Interesting. I guess around this time, did Earth 1 not have a Robin? And maybe, I guess, Earth 2 doesn't have a Batman, so they're just teaming up? Seems like it would make sense.
Yeah, this is I guess Dick Grayson is around, but he is either estranged from Batman or not hanging out with him very much because of Teen Titans stuff. Mm-hmm. And then Robin, of course, his Batman is dead. So, and he's probably older than regular Batman at this point. He's like 40. He's like 40 some years old, probably.
A Robin who's older than Batman? Now that's interesting.
Ooh.
That's interesting. But we will see that next time, and then we're starting to be coming to a close on the JSA stuff. We've just got a couple issues of Brave and the Bold that we're going to read, and then we'll get to something else. But what's our main read next time going to be? Oh, it's still spooky season. We're going to read a couple of things here. We're going to read a one shot by Bill Hader and Seth Meyers of SNL fame from 2009. Called Spider-Man: The Short Halloween. I think it's got J.M. DeMatteis,
Kevin McGuire
in there. Oh, well, okay.
Who was the JLI artist for J.M.
Oh, I know what I'm. Okay,
brain short word.
Yep. And then, so that's a pretty short thing. So on top of that, we're also going to read some X-Men issues where Storm turns into a vampire. Huh. It's going to be Uncanny X-Men number 159, and then the story kind of continues into Uncanny X-Men Annual number 6. Or I guess maybe it's like revisited there.
Yeah, and we're going to see some Tomb of Dracula friends that we met last episode returning, including Dracula.
Hey,
Dracula's in it.
But some other characters too from Tomb of Dracula. A month ago, you'd have been like, who? But now, for the next couple of weeks, you'll be like, oh yeah, I remember them.
Yeah. Is it the evil? Is it the wife that got pushed off the cliff by her husband, and then she came back?
I wish that would be the best.
That she should be a recurring character in something for sure.
She can be Dracula's new wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, so a little bit of a scattered episode next time. Again, that's Spider-Man: The Short Halloween, Uncanny X-Men 159, Uncanny X-Men Annual number 6, and then Brave and the Bold 182. And that's all of it. What else do we got to talk about? Chris, what's going on with your stupid binds?
Oh, well, speaking of finding a weird object in your spooky house, we just reviewed The House by the Cemetery by Fulci, an Italian horror director, where people move into a house where a guy killed his girlfriend and then himself, and then find a grave inside the house and are like, this is probably normal. Nothing spooky here.
Wow. Sounds not spooky at all. Too bad.
Yep. We learn the mystery of the Freudstein family, the mysterious family that owned this house previously. It's a very silly movie.
Interesting. Vince, what's up with you?
Nothing's going on. Just chilling like a villain.
Yeah. That's is there anything special with me? No, still on the hunt for a computer. It's like a worst time to buy a computer because new stuff's coming out.
Yeah.
But who knows? Yeah. We'll get to it eventually.
Chris just got a Steam Deck just like me, so we both got Steam Decks.
Oh, dang. Now I need to get one. I'm behind on the times now. It's too bad. What are y'all playing on your Steam Decks?
I'm playing Vampire Survivors still.
Yeah.
Yakuza 2. Fucking Vampire Survivors. Right. It's just like a cool arcade. Slight roguelike, so I feel like I'm getting a little better or just buying shit to make myself better. It's good. It's got a really... I play it and watch House of the Dragon. It's a good time.
Wonderful. Chris, what are you playing?
I've got Outer Wild. I get them confused. Outer Wilds, the spaceship one. No, wait, they're both spaceship ones.
The Fallout one or not the Fallout one?
No, yeah, the respawning life cycle.
That's Outer Wilds.
Outer Wilds.
The Groundhog Day one, yeah.
So that one, I downloaded Slay the Spire, but I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet. I downloaded Resident Evil 4, and I also, don't tell anyone, I also own all the ROMs, so I'm allowed to do it. I got Metroid Prime and Wind Waker on that thing.
Ooh, do you have Prime Hack or no? Prime Hack actually has like dual analog controls that they put on for Metroid Prime.
Ooh, I don't have that. Yeah. I should look for it. But I don't. But Vince, I don't own a physical copy of that, so I don't know if I'm allowed.
Well, I own 2 physical copies of it because Kia left his when he moved out. So.
Oh, that allows you to modify it.
No, that allows me to modify it, and you have to give it to me. You have to send me your Steam Deck, and I promise I'll fix it and I'll send it back. That's how it works.
Yep, I think so.
Yeah. Well, I think with that we are probably done with this episode. Oh, did I say what I'm playing? I started playing Atelier Ryza. I've never played one of those games, but I like the crafting system. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I think that's it. Yeah. What am I doing? I'm doing the outro now.
Yes.
Vince, I love you.
I love you too. Stay spooky.
Thank you. Chris, I love you.
I love you, my dead wife. Oh no, this isn't you at all, Kia. What's happening?
God damn it. And listener, we love you as well. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.